Hey guys, it's Blake from You've Got Tech. That's something I haven't been able to say in a while, so it sounds pretty good to me. But listen, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe. If you're an existing subscriber, I hope you want to stay. This is going to be the first in a series that hopefully never ends till the day I die of vlog style videos about finance. And if you're not new to the channel, if you've been here a while, it's been almost a decade since I made a video about cell phones. Now, ironically, I'm holding two phones right now. One for the script of this video, one for the plug, one for the low. No, both for Google. One for the tube, this video, and one for the Google searches of all the relevant topics, right? Well, listen. If you are new, here's what we're here to talk about. Tomorrow, being the biggest day of the year, is the consumer price index inflation data. And everything for the past few months has come to this point, okay? It's the missing puzzle piece. Every month we get relevant, sometimes they call it PCE, it depends where you look, personal consumption expenditures, personal consumer expenditures, whatever. I think it's consumption expenditures. And most websites call it consumer price index data, right? Well, last month it was at 8.5%, and that was very important because the month prior was 9.1 in July. So August came in at 8.5. And we're not talking about core, we're talking about everything. And it's rigged, right? You could say that rents, you know, they trail by like 6 to 12 months, sometimes 18 months. I mean, and with everything they're doing, it's driving people, you know, obviously mortgage rates have gone from 3%, 4% up to 5, 6%. And that's driving out 20, 30% of the market, right? Because for every 1% that mortgage rates go up, that takes away 10% of purchasing power for the US consumer. Anyway, that's an aside. But the fact of the matter is that as long as tomorrow's consumer price index data comes in below 8.5 for the headline, core was 5.8, you know, estimates for that are as low as 4.9, as high as 5.3. Anything above 5.3 is going to be not so good, but truth of the matter is, as long as it's below 5.8 for core, and as long as it's below 8.5 for headline, the market will be green. And that's just one day, so who cares if it's one day? Well, this is why it matters, okay? We only get 4 summary of economic projections a year. And everybody knows, except for the Federal Reserve and economists and other media members and Jim Cramer, everybody knows that a recession is back-to-back quarters of negative growth. And what did we do in the first quarter? We had negative 1.5 GDP, gross domestic product for the US. And then the last quarter, negative 0.6. We're gonna go for a third quarter or not, right? Because as much as they wanna say, oh, non-farm payroll, and how can you have a recession if unemployment has barely risen? You're gonna have a labor non-dependent recession? Well, okay. You could say that as much as you want till you're blue in the face. The National Bureau of Economic Research says, oh, well, a recession needs to meet these 5 or 6 factors. Well, the fact of the matter is they can shove it where the sun doesn't shine if you get a third quarter in a row of negative GDP. Anyway, tomorrow's consumer price index data is going to either tell us in the summary of economic projections for the 11 different Federal Reserve boards, it's all the different dot plots from the voting members. And they'll range, and some of them will say that the US will get near 0.5 GDP, and some of them will say we'll have 0 gross domestic product growth, and some will say negative. And some will say we'll have more than 1%. And we're projecting this out until 2023, right? Let's say the first half of 2023 or end of 2023. And the dot plot's gonna matter. And we haven't gotten one of those since June. So here we are in September, from month 6 to month 9, and we're getting the next one. But what matters aside from the S.E.P? Well, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about here, okay? Well, first off, if you're seeing last week, why'd the market go from selling off so heavy? The Dow was getting close to 30K. People were wondering, oh, it's going back to 29 at least, right? But it started recovering back to 32. And the NASDAQ, well, it dipped into the mid-11s. It went almost below 11. It was like 11,200. Well, why did things reverse back to the green the last 4 sessions in a row? Well, that would be because the US dollar weighed against 6 major currencies around the world, but mostly the euro, has retreated a little bit. It's gone from 90 to 110 just in the last 6-7 months. you want to say 8 months, fine. From January to now, it's been on a bull run nonstop. Nothing can stop the US dollar. It's gotten stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's only pulled back 2 or 3%, not even. But it's at 108 right now, okay? And that's been a little better for the markets. 10-year treasury yields were up over 3.35. Back at the May and June figures, Bitcoin was down at 18,000. Ethereum sold off 10-20%. But things reversed. And when someone says Ethereum sold off 10-20%, I mean, obviously it's down over 50-60% from last November. So is everything, right? I mean, unless it's Apple, Google, Tesla, Facebook, Microsoft, and by the way, Facebook and Netflix are down like 60-70% anyway. Or maybe Facebook's down 55%. But anyway, suffice it to say, the DXY chart has pulled back a little bit. And aside from that, bond yields came down a little bit. And as the price of bonds, well, as more people are selling them, the yield goes up. As more people buy them, the yield goes down. But aside from that, the Fed is worried that they got to worry about their dual mandate. And in the minutes last month, the Fed minutes, they said, you know what, we really don't care about, unemployment as much. And it ticked up to 3.7%. And, people are estimating unemployment might go to 5%. Unemployment might go to 6%, right? Well, pre-pandemic unemployment was 4.5%, close to 5%, right? So who cares? Well, it's their dual mandate. But all they care about is getting inflation under control. Between 2 and 3%, the neutral Fed funds rate is already at 2.5%. And people are saying the terminal rate by the end of the year, well, is it going to go to 3.25? Because if they do another 75 basis point hike, that's what markets are expecting. But if inflation data comes in tomorrow below 8.5 and core comes in below 5.8, and then on Wednesday producer price inflation comes in below 9.8, which month prior was 10.5, month prior was 11.3, the peak was 11.7 I think in March. But if all these things are under control, maybe the Fed can pull back a little bit. I mean, they're selling off their bonds at $95 billion a month. $95 billion a month. And Bloomberg and Wall Street economists are saying, listen, the Fed is saying they're selling off $8 trillion of assets, right? Whether that's a mix of mortgage-backed securities or just treasury bonds. They're selling $8 trillion of stuff. Listen, that would be over 8 years. You think they're going to be selling things for 8 years? No, of course not. Maybe 4 years from now or 2 years from now, they'll reverse. But economists think it might be 1 year, right? It could be as little as half a year. But Powell and all the other Federal Reserve members are chomping at the bit, mouthing off and saying, listen, we're going to keep rates steady. Once we finish hiking, we're going to keep them as long as we need. We're not going to reverse. So, as you can see, the summary of economic projections and the Federal Reserve dot plot across the board members matters quite a bit. And we're going to find out some missing puzzle pieces. So if you guys want, tune in with me. Of course, estimates are that we're going to have good readings. Why? It's pretty simple. Oil is down a little bit. Their last meeting, oil was over $95 a barrel. The last summary of economic projections, oil was over $110 a barrel. I mean, listen, in Europe, they got a problem. Just now, in Europe, they started hiking rates. From 2 months ago, they went from negative rates, negative 0.5, 50 basis point hike to 0. That's where we were in February. And they got a problem because they're paying 13 times for natural gas what they were paying last year. Imagine you pay 1 month, and that's what you paid for the whole year a year ago. Your natural gas for the whole year to heat your home. Oh, you pay 1 month. You pay for the whole year, it's 12 years. What it used to be, 13 years. Anyway, they're just beginning hiking now. Last, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, they did another 75 basis point hike. And now, they're talking about getting to the neutral rate. Well, that's great. If they do another 2 or 3 75 basis point hikes, they'll get there too. But they did a rug pull much later. The point of the matter is, they got some splaining to do. And listen, Lucy, we're gonna send you to the moon if we get readings here that don't match people's expectations. And listen, when you take out food and energy, and by the way, energy is needed to produce your food, no matter what, when you take out all items except food and energy, you should think you'd get good readings because energy's down 10, 20, 30%. So let's see, and then we'll check back in with you guys tomorrow.